Alright, so I finally found that picture in my yearbook where I'm compared to Harry Potter. Take a look. What a stupid little kid I was back in the day. Times sure have changed. Well, maybe. In some ways. Anyway, let's get on with the review. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third Harry Potter film, released in 2004, and once again stars Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, Rupert Grint as Ron Weasley, and Emma Watson as Hermione Granger. The trio are about to enter their third year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. But as they're heading off, they learn about an escaped prisoner from Azkaban, Sirius Black, who may or may not have some sort of connection with Harry's past and his two parents. So once again, it's up to our lovable trio to save the day and solve this plot. So with my personal experience with the series growing up, this is the point where I just kind of started shifting away from Harry Potter. Around this time, I just stopped reading the books. I stopped at Chamber of Secrets and didn't start reading the books again until just recently. I'm in the middle of Prisoner of Azkaban at the time I'm recording this review. So basically all the reviews from now on will be solely based from a cinematic standpoint. But anyway, my focus at this time just was shifted towards other fandoms. Like, I got more into Pokemon. I was able to get back into the original Star Wars trilogy because it was rare for me to see those movies. And in 2004, that's when the trilogy was released on DVD for the first time. But another reason is that I just felt like Harry Potter wasn't for me anymore. Remember when I said that the boys at Hogwarts were conditioned to hate Gilderoy Lockhart just because the girls loved him? I was like that way with Harry Potter because most of the fan base were all girls. Some reason as a guy, I was conditioned to not like Harry Potter at all. It's incredibly sexist, I know, and I'm willing to admit that because when you're a teenager, you just have that mindset. So it's sad, I know, but I moved past that. I'm more grown up now. But not to get completely off topic, my point is, with the movie Prisoner of Azkaban, it's the one that I remember seeing in the theaters the least. I'm pretty sure I did see it in theaters, but with all the Harry Potter movies, I didn't watch this one repeatedly as much as the others, which is a damn shame because Prisoner of Azkaban is my absolute favorite Harry Potter movie. For me to say that Chamber of Secrets is just okay, and then for me to say that I adore Prisoner of Azkaban is a huge step. And the reason for that, I believe, is because of Alfonso Cuarón, which I think was needed. Chamber of Secrets really did feel too similar to the first movie and didn't have enough energy. Alfonso Cuarón gives the franchise the energy it deserves, and it has a big stylistic difference from the first two movies while still being faithful to the book. I mean, I'm only halfway through the book, but I can definitely tell that he was faithful to the source material that I've read so far. A lot of his trademarks are in this movie, from the gorgeous cinematography, including the long camera shots. For example, when one of the new characters, Professor Lupin, teaches the students in the Defense Against the Dark Arts room, there are shots where the camera will basically go through the mirror and then pan to the side to show the students. And I know there's like some editing or CG trickery worked in there, but it's still really creative. And also, one thing you'll notice throughout watching this movie, or most of Cuarón's movies, is the hint of green. I guarantee you that there is not one shot in this film that does not have a tint of green. It's just really beautiful. And one thing that this movie also does, it just really gives more life to the wizarding world. For example, the ghost effects actually look really cool. There's this cool blurring effect, and they don't float around. They just walk around like normal people. And it's cool. The paintings also come to life in various ways. They're always moving rather than just being static and moving on occasion. A lot of the paintings do have many personalities that are fun. Again, it gives more life to this world. And the John Williams score is fantastic this time around. This is the second time in the series he got his Oscar nomination because he was nominated for the first movie as well. And John Williams, now that he's fully committed to this movie, he was back to doing what he does best. Create a ton of new music and themes while keeping the traditional Harry Potter theme in there, which he's always done with a lot of movies. If you listen to the score for Empire Strikes Back, you can tell that it is a different score from the original Star Wars. Or when you watch Temple of Doom, it's a different score from Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Lost World compared to Jurassic Park. It actually might be my favorite Harry Potter score next to the first one. I just absolutely love it. And all the actors, including the ones that I've criticized in the past, are really good. Daniel Radcliffe this time around is fantastic in this movie. When he's mad or happy or sad, you actually believe him this time around. And he has a lot more energy in his performance. And even though this is the third movie, this is actually the first time in the film series where I actually believe that Harry, Ron, Hermione were best friends. You really get the fact that these three have known each other for quite some time. They laugh together, they just really, you can tell they all love each other. And we have a couple new actors in this series, one of which is Michael Gambon, who now plays Dumbledore, because before Chamber of Secrets came out, Richard Harris, who used to play Dumbledore, passed away. And I think Michael Gambon does a much better job than Richard Harris. I mean, it sucks that he did die, and Richard Harris was good. But what Michael Gambon does is that he brings more life to this character. He's more authoritative, but still has a kind heart, and is the mentor figure for Harry Potter. And also in this movie, you can really tell that he schemes a lot. He plans things for the characters to do, and Dumbledore knows what he's doing. If you watch the finale of the movie, which is very clever and creative, by the way, you can really tell that Dumbledore, he knows what he's doing. He plans everything in advance. We also have some new characters, such as Professor Lupin, who is the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and probably the best one. While Dumbledore has always been a mentor figure, Lupin comes the closest to being a father figure for Harry Potter, because obviously Harry's parents died when he was a baby, and Lupin comes in and is pretty much the father figure. There's a lot of interactions between the two of them outside of class, and it's a really great performance. And Sirius Black in this movie is played by Gary Oldman, who is one of the greatest actors living today. And it's another one of his roles where it took me a while to realize, oh shit, that's Gary Oldman. Because he acts so different when you compare him to, say, The Dark Knight. He does a great balance of being psychotic and sympathetic at the same time. And we also get a lot more backstory into the past of Harry's family, pretty much. Because Sirius Black is Harry's godfather. Lupin is a really, really good friend of the Potters before they passed away. And we're also introduced to the character of Peter Pettigrew, which, the more I think about it, sounds better when you say it in a British accent. Peter Pettigrew. But anyway, Peter Pettigrew is the person who was responsible for the death of Lily and James Potter. He was the one who tipped off Voldemort to where they were, and Voldemort killed him because of Peter Pettigrew. He was once a friend of the Potters, but pretty much betrayed them. And he ends up being the true wanted man, and not Sirius Black, who's been framed this whole time. And during the scene where we're introduced to Peter Pettigrew and we find out that Sirius Black is innocent, it's a powerful scene. It's a real strong scene. Gary Oldman's performance is great. Everyone in that scene does a really good job. And again, it does reveal more about the past of Harry's parents. So it's really well done. And we also get introduced to many new elements that would be really helpful as the series goes on. For example, we're introduced to the Patronus charm, which is probably the most quoted Harry Potter spell out there. And we also get introduced to the Marauders map. Basically a map that lets you see where everyone in the castle is and what they're doing. It all again goes into building the Wizarding World up to be more expansive, at the same time not being there just for show, but will eventually serve as important moments as the franchise goes on. So this is just really a fantastic movie. I absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban, no question about it. However, if I were to nitpick about something, the architecture for Hogwarts keeps changing. For example, in the first two movies, Hagrid's hut was just outside the castle. You could just walk straight to it. This time around, Hagrid's hut is a little more down a hill and further away from Hogwarts. Does Hogwarts just change the architecture every once in a while with magic? It's something that really confuses me, and if it does sound like a nitpick, I apologize, and I also have one other word to say if you are going to be mad at me for nitpicking about something like that. Obliviate! So I absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban, no question about it. No flaws at all. Not even a single nitpick. So my rating for this movie is get off your ass and go see it right now if you haven't. I absolutely love this movie. It really gets better every time I watch it. It has a really intriguing plot, the characters are great, the dynamics are wonderful, the world is expansive, the special effects are really good this time around, and it has a very, very creative ending. So it's just I absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban. I can't give it enough praise. And that's my review for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Check back next week where I'll be reviewing Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the big turning point in the series. So until then, I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on Prisoner of Azkaban, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you, there's only one.